My daughter didn't even wear a sweatshirt today. Maybe to school, but she's like, this is still warm for our family. Your big coat. I'm not even sure I'm gonna pull out my big. I mean, the first year, right? I don't even know I'm gonna pull out my big coat, but maybe once I get used to it.
We already have ours out down here.
Yeah, I'm not going to visit my family in the winter, right? Like, no way am I going to New York in the winter or Ohio in the winter anymore.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Rabbis get to both be the killers of conversation and the starters of conversation, right? I love how social we are being as we greet each other to celebrate Shabbat together. It is so great that we're able to be together. Let us sing those words, Hinei ma tov u'ma naim. They are found on page 128 in the thick blue prayer book, hopefully in the shelf in front of where you are sitting. You guys are throwing me off again, sitting on the other side here. Every time somebody sits in a different seat. I've only been here for a few months, but I know where everybody... I think it's so important. It's so important. I think you should. Find your favorite spot. And then pick a new one each week, right? That's what I've been asking you to do. So no matter where you're sitting, if it's in your spot you always sit in, but you're not over there, or if you're in a different spot, it is great that we are able to be together. Let us sing Hinei ma tov. Hinei ma tov u'ma naim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma naim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Yai la lai, ya la lai, 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 lai. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Ya la lai, ya la lai, 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 lai. Hinei ma tov u'ma naim, shevet achim gam yachad. Let us welcome Shabbat by lighting our Shabbat candles. Going to turn backwards a few pages. We find our blessing for lighting Shabbat candles on page 120. And like you, I also was being too chatty before services and did not even invite anyone who might want to light Shabbat candles. Would anybody like to? If you volunteer someone else, does that mean you're volunteering yourself? Anybody want to volunteer to light our candles? I saw 2 hands. We can have multiple people come on up. That's okay. So you're going to go right here. The candle that's already lit, you're just going to take... You want to do it with her? You guys are going to lift it. Thank you both very, very, very much. Yes.
So let me say it means, blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us by your commandments and commanded us to distinguish always.
Amen. Amen. Thank you both. Thank you both. And we light 2 Shabbat candles because our tradition tells us that there's lots of interpretations of this, but one of the main interpretations of it is that our tradition tells us, and the text tells us, that God told us to both shamor, which means we translate to guard, and zachor, which we translate to remember, Shabbat. And so having both of those things throughout the Bible, throughout Torah, we're told shamor and zachor, to guard and to remember, sometimes translated as one of those is to keep. So we light 2 candles to remind us that typically when that command came to us in Torah, that both of those words are used. Let us turn together in our prayer books to page 124. and read together the prayer at the top. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let those drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. I love this reading because I think it's such a necessary reminder that we have to leave our weekly worries outside of this space. It's a lot easier said than done, I know. That when we're sitting here, our minds probably wander to something we haven't completed that was on our to-do list. Or our minds wander to something that we hoped would have gone a different way this past week. Or we look ahead to the next week and think about everything we're worrying about already for the next week. But if we're able to pause during Shabbat and leave those burdens aside and let them be lifted from our shoulders, then we can find moments of peace. And that's why I truly love this reminder to us on this page as we enter our services together. We're going to turn now to page 129. We've talked a lot, for those of you who have been to services since I arrived, that there are tunes that people for all generations know, and there are tunes that in this community only I know. So we'll see what happens in a moment. I want to focus our attention to the two very short Hebrew lines on the bottom of page 129. The Hebrew is Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana Ve'al Na Titalem. God is my heart's desire. Appear, do not hide.
Can you say that again slowly?
Yes. Yes. On 129, you can see it both in Hebrew letters and in English transliteration across from it. It says, Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana Ve'al Na Titalem. I'm going to sing a version of this written by Noah Aronson that you might know, you might not know, you might have heard it but not be able to sing it, or you might look at me like I'm crazy. All of those are great options, but let us think about God being our heart's desire and how we need God to be in our lives and not hiding from us. This is how the tune goes. Eile chamda libi, chusana ve'al na titalem. Eile chamda libi, chusana ve'al na titalem. Eile chamda libi, chusana ve'al na titalem. Funny story, that is not the Noah Aronson version, and I just jumped into the version I did back at camp, and I loved it because everybody knew it. I was all excited to share the Noah Aronson version with you, and me too got transferred back to another point in my life, and I promise you there's no way I'm going to be able to get the version in my head that I was hoping to do. But I was so excited. That version transferred me back to when I used to work at overnight Jewish summer camp, and we were causing ruckus in the Chadar Ochel, in the dining hall. We were jumping up and down and dancing. I saw some of you trying to go like this because that is what we did. Let us do that version one more time, and I am so happy everybody knows it. Eile chamda libi, chusana ve'al na titalem. Eile chamda libi, chusana ve'al na titalem. Eile chamda libi, chusana ve'al na titalem. I want to introduce these new melodies, but my brain always transports me back to a separate moment. So I think maybe I'll just have to call Noah Aronson on the phone and be like, Noah, I need you to come to Baton Rouge because I've tried to sing your music, And I always sing the wrong version, so maybe I'll call him up and see if we can have a musical residency with us, with Noah. Let us now welcome the Sabbath bride to our community with the words of Lecha Dodi, page 138 and 139. We will sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 with the chorus in between. And there is a tradition when we get to that 9th verse when we say, Boi Kala, literally, come my bride, that we stand up on our feet. And if you are comfortable, face the door with which we entered in order to metaphorically greet the Sabbath presence into our community. Page 138 and 139. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shemo tiferet ve'litila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'maksheva tehila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri kiva ore kumi ori uri shir daberi kevod Adonai alayich nigla Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela. If you'd like to rise and face the door, I invite you to do so. Verse 9. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvesohola toch emunei am segula boi chala Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela. Before you sit down, I'm going to invite you to greet one another. We just greeted the Sabbath bride. Take a moment to say Shabbat Shalom, maybe to someone you didn't have a chance to greet when we were beginning services, someone you did not come here with. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, thank you. Moved in yesterday. Oh, it's seating boxes. And also we still have stuff at the rental. So, well, this house is so much bigger than I thought it was, but like there's room to have a couch and a table and boxes. Our furniture looks very small. So we're gonna have to shop. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're excited. Once you had a chance to greet some people, I'll invite you to head back to your seats, and you may take your seats. Continuing the theme of welcoming, we welcomed the Sabbath bride into our community. We welcomed each other. Now let us welcome the ministering angels with the words of Shalom Aleichem, page 142. This was a poem written in Sfat that came from the 17th century that has made its way into our Shabbat liturgy. Let us sing it together. Again, page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzeitzchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As we transition from the busyness of the week to Shabbat, I'm curious if anybody wants to share what's the great thing from this past week for you that you're carrying with you into Shabbat. Yeah, something that happened to you, something that you witnessed, something that just made you feel peaceful. Anybody have something that from this past week that they're carrying with them into Shabbat?
I got significant data. So basically for the first time I have positive results on the experience I ran.
So now you get to write about it, right? Yeah. The joys of being a PhD candidate, right? Yeah.
I had a lot of like confusion and things and I was like clearing up
Mm-hmm.
this week.
Nice. Really nice.
We had somebody who's returning to our yoga class who has not been for 3 years. Great to have them back.
Nice.
We got back from New York on Monday, and it was really nice to get back. We usually try to go every couple of years, but COVID has gotten us way behind, so.
Yeah. Nice to be able to go and nice to be able to come back. Yeah. Anybody? So, yeah, Joel.
For driving on the left side of the road and you think every car is going to hit you.
You survived though. Hopefully you're talking about while you were away and not while you were here. Yes. So one of the things I'm carrying with me, although I am living in a sea of a mess, I will say we've been waiting for a very long time, and yesterday we moved into the house that we bought. So we still have stuff at the rental, but I slept in the house that we bought last night. So beginning to kind of maybe one day feel settled and set down roots, and really, I'm really excited that we were able to make that happen. Anybody else? So let us think of the things people shared and the things each of us hold in our hearts as we carry out into Shabbat. Let us move to a transitional prayer, that of Chatzi Kaddish, page 144. Yikadal v'ikadash shemei Rabba Be'alma divrach yirotev yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye de kol beit Yisrael Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imeru. Yahei shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam u'lo me'almaya. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitroman, v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha barichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, ve'imeru. As we turn to page 146 and we find the words of Baruch Hu, I invite you to please rise. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach, Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Let us read together on page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzivaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 150, let us continue together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them. For they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. As we turn the page and we find the words of Shema, I invite you to rise if you wish. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. We continue chanting together, page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol lavavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvleftecha v'derech uvshokbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti atchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, lihiot lachem le'elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, emet. Let us read together on page 156. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior, who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You performed miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. Page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, no ratehilot o seifele, no ratehilot o seifele, malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei ayam, lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch, leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar, ki fada Adonai Yaakov, galo miyad chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Page 160, we read together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162. We sing together. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash Shavat vayinafash v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. As we are about to enter our Amidah, our central prayers of our evening service. Before we do so, I actually want to point out one of the one-line pieces of information that is found under the little blue line in this book on page 163. When we lit our Shabbat candles, I said something about how we're commanded both to guard and to keep Shabbat, to remember whatever that means for you. For many of us, that means different things. And this one-liner from Achad Ha'am says, more than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. And I think as we go about our busy days, as we are people in a world of people who are different than us, we have to remember to continue. Remember to keep Shabbat. Remember that this is the one thing that has the ability to bring us together. So I'm curious if anybody wants to share, what is it about Shabbat for you?
Well, she just explained to me what it was for the first time. So she said it's a day where you do nothing but worship. That's for sure.
Yeah. You get to worship and hit that pause button.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the busy life.
Shabbat keeps the memory of creation alive.
Nice. Yeah. I think for me, one of the things that is so important about Shabbat is to do something to make it different than every other day. I feel like we live in such a fast-paced world, no matter where we are in our lives, that we go. And what can we do to make this time period different than whatever we do during the week? And for me, each week it's different. For me, it could be hanging out with my kid on Saturday afternoon. For me, it could be tomorrow's probably going to be unpacking some boxes, I'll be quite honest, right? But it's doing something different. I will not be sitting at my computer and writing, which is for many people what they do on Shabbat. But for me, I do that every other day. right? And so we each need to find our thing that allows us to make it different. So as we enter our Amidah, we'll have moments to pray communally. We'll have moments to pray personally. And I challenge you to think about what you're going to do, aside from all sitting here, which is not something you do every single day of the week, to make the next 24 hours different for you. The beginning of our Amidah is on page 164. We will chant together the right hand side of the page in Hebrew for the next few pages together, and then we will have a moment, and I'll instruct you when we will do that, to have some silent personal prayer as well. So let us turn to page 164, and I invite you to rise. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Ge'ula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Mayin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim B'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, L'Shenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Geburot, U'Midom Elah, Melech Menich, U'Mechayei, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom hallelujah selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh. I invite you now to continue silently either the words you find in the pages until about page 180, or the words you find in your own hearts on this Shabbat evening, and I invite you to be seated whenever you wish. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. We pause now in our evening service to think of all those in need of healing. Healing of body, healing of mind, and healing of spirit. Our Misha Berach prayer of healing can be found on page 371. Tonight, as a community, we think of Joy Lewis, Lucy Silva, Minna Bat Yentl, Mordechai Bendina, Rowan Hausman, Anna Carlo, Judy Roheim, Friedel Tamara Bat Liba Bela, Manucha Pasa Bat Cherny Umosha, Gretchen Haynes, Steve Sinkoff, Linda Weinstein, Ruby Smolinski, Lee Kaplan, Jennifer Casson, Vicky Furstel, and Storm Matthews. If there are others you are thinking of, if you'd like to share their names aloud, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. For the names we heard aloud and those whom we hold in our hearts, we pray for healing, again, page 371. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Two men, both seriously ill, occupied the same hospital room. Neither man was allowed to leave the room. One man was allowed to sit up in his bed for an hour each afternoon. His bed was next to the room's only window. The other man had to spend all his time flat on his back. The men talked for hours on end. They spoke of their wives and families, their homes, their jobs, their involvement in the military service, and where they had been on vacation. Every afternoon, when the man in the bed by the small window could sit up, he would pass the time by describing to his roommate all the things he could see outside the window. The man in the other bed began to live for those 1 hour periods where his world would be broadened and enlivened by all the activity and color of the world outside. The window overlooked a park with a lovely lake, Ducks and swans played on the water while children sailed their model boats. Young lovers walked arm in arm amidst flowers of every color, and a fine view of the city skyline could be seen in the distance. As the man by the window described all this in exquisite detail, the man on the other side of the room would close his eyes and imagine the picturesque scene. One warm afternoon, the man by the window described a parade passing by. Although the other man couldn't hear the band, he could see it through his friend's description. Days and weeks passed. One morning, the man by the window died peacefully in his sleep. As soon as it seemed appropriate, the other man asked the nurse if he could be moved to his friend's bed. The nurse was happy to make the switch, and after making sure he was comfortable, she left him alone. Slowly, painfully, he propped himself up on one elbow to take his first look at the real world outside. He strained to slowly turn to look out the window beside the bed. In front of him was a blank wall. The man asked the nurse what could have compelled his roommate, who had described such wonderful things, outside a pretend window. The nurse responded that the man was blind and could not even see the wall. She said, perhaps he just wanted to encourage you. It was the small window in that hospital room which helped one patient encourage another in his despair when they were both stuck. Could you ever imagine being stuck in a place that you could not leave? After March 2020, I think we all understand this idea slightly better. We all thought we would stay inside for 4 weeks and this thing called COVID-19 would pass. We, though, had modern amenities of internet, TV, so much technology, yet many still described it like the concept of cabin fever. How about stopping to imagine what life was like inside of Noah's Ark? There were 3 floors. The middle floor was filled with a collection of the world's animals. The humans had the top floor. Cramped in an inescapable living space was Noah, his 3 sons, their wives, and 1 mother-in-law. I think the rest of the scenario can clearly play out in each of our minds. Most of us would probably not want to experience those living quarters. What intrigues me are the details of the architectural commands that God gave Noah. God details measurements and design for an ark that took a lot of time to build. Why would God care so much about how many cubits the ark was and what type of wood Noah would use? Are there lessons to be learned from the design of the ark? After all, God promised that there would be no more floods. If there are no more floods, then there is no need to ever build an ark again. So what difference does it make how this one was built? According to Rashi, a great biblical scholar, we learn just how hard this instruction manual from God was. Rashi teaches that it took Noah 120 years to build the ark. Could you imagine buying an item with some assembly necessary, taking 120 years to complete? I, for sure, would not have the same love I do for IKEA. If Noah worked for 120 years, though, I am sure he learned something from his tiring process. And therefore, when we read his story, we too should be able to learn something. One page of this instruction manual that seems important to me in today's world is the necessity of a window. The Hebrew word used for window is sohar. Bartanura, a 16th century commentator on Rashi, writes that the word for window shares the same root as the word soharaim, meaning noon. He, along with other commentators, say that Noah was commanded to build an opening that would let the noon light shine within the ark. It seems practical enough to put a window in a floating wood box. It is not only a way to allow light in, but also an easy way to allow air to circulate and to see what's happening in the outside world during the flood. This window plays a larger role in our story than just making it less stuffy in the ark for Noah and his family. It provided natural light for those inside the ark, and as you probably know, at the end of the story, it is this window where first the raven, then the dove are sent forth to find dry land. It is this window that allows Noah to know when the waters begin to subside. Without this window, Noah and his family might never have known when to leave the ark. This was a window of hope. We all need windows like this one in our lives. We need them for not only ourselves, but also in our relationships with others. Sometimes when we are locked in our little boxes, stuck in the busy routine of our lives, thinking that we need more hours in the day, a tiny window could make all the difference. When we think our world is crumbling and that we are doomed to a fate that is too difficult to bear, God tells us to make a window. Our windows can be opened in not only times of despair, but we have to remember to open them also in times of joy. We need to be able to see the light shining through our personal windows and realize that our life and life inside our modern day metaphorical arcs is not always as bad as we sometimes make it out to be. Stuck inside our house back in Kansas in March of 2020, I went on more imaginary adventures than ever before, turning a cardboard box into a race car, spaceship, bakery, and more. I enjoyed more Shabbat dinners watching my daughter lead the blessing over the candles while covering her eyes than ever before. Although during the endless loop of Zoom meetings where I was stuck, while always being interrupted by my daughter who was 3, I did not feel hopeful. I can now look back and find the blessing of spending more time with my 3-year-old daughter than I would have ever been afforded if I was working out of the house. And this blessing, now looking back, was actually the window in my ark. May we be able to identify the windows in our lives that help us the most in all difficult situations. May we create our personal windows, even when we feel overwhelmed by what is going on around us, for ourselves and our friends and family who need them most. And may we open those windows and allow light to always shine in upon all of us. Shabbat Shalom. We return now to our prayer books to conclude our service. We can find the words of Aleinu on page 586. And I'm curious if anybody or any 2 people would like to volunteer to help open our ark for us. Go for it. Come on. Anybody want to go up with her? As they open our ark, page 586 at the bottom, kind of in the middle, I invite you to please rise. Yeah, that side, right side first, and then the latch. Yeah. Perfect. You can stand where you can stand there. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol. La tekedula liyotzer breshit shelo asanim pigoye haratzot velo samanu kamishpachot adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umoyim gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may close the ark.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the light always on in here?
No,
Okay. I couldn't see a button.
it's hiding. There is a hiding button that is not in the ark. I also had to ask what it was when I first arrived. It's not a secret. If anybody wants to know, I can tell you after. Perfect. You may be seated. Grown-ups can have candy too. Do you want a candy necklace? It's almost trick-or-treating. I love when it's not only the kids who take the candy. The switch is not inside the ark. No, it's hiding. As our prayers this Shabbat evening draw to a close, we turn our thoughts to our loved ones who are no more. Tonight, we remember two taken from us in the past 30 days, Herman Van Oz and Shirley Marvin. To their names, we add the names of those who passed away during the past year. Marvin Bender, Donald Ostern, Elaine Garver, Robert Feldman, Eileen Burton, Virginia Gordon, Bruce Dunham, Jim Bullman, R.B. Dickerson, Moni Mayer, Joanne Strickler, Richard Berenson Stone, John Wormser, Robert Eisenbach, Jerry Suppos, Donald Kim, Hannah Bine, Nathan Zuckerman, and Bernie Flicker. We also think of those who died at this season in years past and whose family members are observing the Yortzeit, the anniversary of their loved one's death. We remember Daniel Barron, Holly Clegg, John Darden, Abraham DeWork, Henrietta Hyam, Betty Fishbein, Fanny Ginsberg, Estelle Rosenberg-Grossman, Ruth Kahn, Ilse Katz, Renee LeBlanc, Rosalind Goldfarb-Liss, Charles Mass, Rosalie Priss Marcus, Freddie Miller, Sarah Rozovsky, Aranka Roheim, Natalie B. Rubin, Gail Hausman Victor. If there are others you are thinking of this evening, if you'd like to share their name aloud, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. For all those names we heard aloud and those whom we hold in our hearts, we turn to the words of Mourner's Kaddish, page 598, and I invite you to rise if you wish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach yerotev yamlich malchute, b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yahei shmei Rabba mevarach leolam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei tekudesha barichu. Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zikronam livracha, may all their memories be for a blessing. As together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Going to invite up Julie, our representative of our Board of Trustees, to welcome you and share a few announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's services, for those who have come from near and far. Tomorrow, there will be a Torah study in the social hall at 9:30 a.m., both in person and on Zoom. There will be a Shabbat minyan in the green room at 10 a.m., in person only. There will be services in the sanctuary at 10:30 a.m., both in person and on YouTube. And there will be a virtual Havdalah at 8 p.m., hosted by the Saxey family on Zoom. We are now accepting donations for the annual Turkey Train program. Help us provide meals for underprivileged in our community. More information about how to participate in this mitzvah was included in the weekly email. The program will be on Sunday, November 13th. The next meeting of the book club will be on Sunday, November 13th at 2 p.m. And if you would like a book of remembrance, please take one home with you. I guess they're somewhere.
Yeah, they're in the basket, right?
They're in the basket outside. And
That's
I think, is that, okay. That's it. Shabbat Shalom.
It's right, well, I'll show it when we're done with services, I can show it too. It's like right here, yeah.
Of what?
The Book of Remembrance? Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You can take one with you. Not on the announcement sheet, but just to think forward. Oh my goodness, it's November. To think into November on, no, it's not November. Is that what you're, no? You're not ready for November? November 11th is a Friday night, so Veterans Day falls on the same time where we will have evening Shabbat services. So if you are a veteran or if you know another veteran in our community, we are going to have all veterans who are with us at services that evening rise so we can offer them a special blessing. So please spread the word and invite those you know. I don't yet know who in the community is, so I look forward to being able to honor them. That night also happens to be the next time that Joey Roth will be singing with us, so two really good reasons to join us for services on November 11th. Just wanted to make sure people start thinking about, and we are putting together a lot of opportunities, hopefully for more music. Joey will be joining once a month, working with, if you remember, Charlene from like my very first month here, bringing her back as well. So add some more music and instruments to our services moving forward. We are going to close out our service tonight, though, with Kiddush. Oh, you want to do Yigdal? Was that a request? Oh, I was just going to jump straight to Kiddush, but you want to do Yigdal? No. I'm flexible. I could take request. I mean, if I know it, but take request. No, we're going to join together in Kiddush and Motzi. The words can be found on page 123. And I invite you to please rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol B'Shabbat kodecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. If you hold up your imaginary cup, you gotta do what my Rainer kids do when they say L'chaim to me. They go like this. The energy this morning with Rainer was adorable. They like L'chaim each other with their imaginary cups. And they were very excited. I opened the ark for them so they got to see all the beautiful colors. And they were super excited. Let us, this is a triple twist tie here, friends. This challah does not want us to bless it.
It's rated.
Here. Shabbat shalom, good to see you. Oh, I love candy necklaces. It's pure, it's like sugar compacted into a... Oh, Smarties are better.